What does the Islamic account have to say, and what does the sacred and holy hadith of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, has to say in regards to a person respecting and holding reverence and admiration for the blessed month of Ramadan. Now you see, engaging in the worship of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala in the very first place is a gesture showcasing that one is now respecting the month of the holy Ramadan. So when you contrast the month of Ramadan with other months, with other 11 months of the year, when we contrast the month of Ramadan with other months, we come to the realization that it is exceptionally in this blessed month that we Muslims engage in the worship of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala in an exceptional manner. So we would fast the entire day. We would spend our entire day in the worship of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. And then when the evening would draw near, when the night would draw near, we would resort to Qiyam. We would resort to Taraweeh prayers. We would establish Taraweeh prayers. Then if we take the example of this gathering, following the Taraweeh prayers, we would then resort to attending Milad gatherings. We would listen to lectures and sermons. Isn't this an act of worship as well? Yes, these are all acts of worship. So yes, why do we do that? Why do we do them particularly in the month of Ramadan? Because we hold reverence for the month of Ramadan. We hold respect and utter respect for this blessed month of Ramadan. So this is the respect for the month of Ramadan in the perspective that in the days we fast, as my Sayyidi Sheikh Muhammad Mohsin Yusufi was earlier stating, and I wish to reiterate that it is not only that you fast in the month of Ramadan, but it is that you refrain. It is that you refrain and stop yourself from the commission of evil deeds, or those deeds which are not the acceptable standard of behavior. So you refrain from such activities. You refrain from speaking lies. You refrain from backbiting, as Sayyidi was earlier mentioning. So yes, these are all acts of worship which ultimately reflect the fact that a Muslim is endeavoring to respect the holy month of Ramadan. So and it is rather narrated by Hazrat Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu that the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, is reported to have said that the faithful person, the pious person, the Muslim, the believer who fasts in the month of Ramadan, his entire previous sins will be forgiven. Such a big account to take into consideration. And similarly, the person who for the sake of blessings observes Qiyam in the month of Ramadan, his entire previous sins will also be forgiven. So what really is Qiyam? That you observe and you establish the Taraweeh prayers. You worship Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala in the evenings, in the night. So that is what really highlights respect and reverence, admiration for the sacred month of Ramadan. Now, it is rather recorded in Nuzhatul Majalis Sharif that Hazrat Muhaddis Abdul Rahman Safuri Rahmatullah alayh, he states that in the month of Ramadan, he penned down an account. He wrote an account in his book. He says that in the city of Bukhara, there once lived a Zoroastrian, which you would call a Majusi in the Urdu language. So in the city of Bukhara, there once lived a Zoroastrian, and in the days of Ramadan, one following day, that Zoroastrian person who belonged to the religion of Zoroastrianism, Majusi, he went down into the market along with one of his sons. So when he was in the market, in the midst of the market, his son took an item from the market and he started to eat that food item in the midst of the market in front of everyone. Now, what is noteworthy is that that person, the father, was a Majusi. He was a Zoroastrian. He was not a Muslim. Yet, the respect that he held for the Muslims' month of Ramadan was such that it was in that instance that in the middle of the market, he slapped his own son, saying that why do you resort to eating in this blessed month of Ramadan when you see that there are these people around in the market, these Muslims who are fasting in front of you, yet you eat in front of them? So why do you disrespect this month? The son surprisingly replied that this month of Ramadan, it does not belong to the Zoroastrians, to the Majusis, but rather it belongs to the Muslims. So why does it really relate to us? Why should it even matter to us that we refrain ourselves from eating in the market when this month of Ramadan does not really belong to us, but rather to the Muslims? To that, his father replied that you are also expected to respect this blessed month of Ramadan of the Muslims. Even though this month does not belong to you, you are expected to nevertheless respect the month. The son was an arguable person. The son further argued with his father, and he said to his father that I eat in the middle of the market in the month of Ramadan. You end up slapping me in front of everyone when you yourself you eat in the month of Ramadan as well. You do not keep the fast, yet you eat. Then why is this such a difference here? That when you eat, there is no one to stop you, and when I eat, you end up slapping me? The father to that replied that, O son, you eat in front of the Muslims, and it is in that perspective that you end up disrespecting the Muslims. However, on the other hand, I do not eat in front of the Muslims. I do not eat in the month of Ramadan in the midst of the market, but I eat behind closed doors. I eat behind closed doors in my home. So that, in a sense, is the difference. Now, later on, that Zoroastrian, he passed away. Now there was this saint of Allah, Muhaddis Abdul Rahman Safuri, states that when that Zoroastrian passed away, when that Majusi person passed away, there was a saint of Allah in that community who saw while in a dream that that Zoroastrian person was granted paradise. He was granted Jannah. The saint of Allah remarked, that Ali Allah, he remarked surprisingly, and he asked and inquired that you were not a Muslim. You were not a Muslim. You were a Majusi. You were a Zoroastrian. How did you end up in paradise? In response to that, the Zoroastrian replied, he said that the matter was that it was due to my utter respect, reverence, and admiration for the sacred and sanctified blessed month of the Muslims, month of Ramadan, that right before I was about to die and pass away, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala blessed me with the wealth of faith. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala blessed me with the wealth of faith, and it was in that consequence that I gained Iman by the blessings. And it was due to the fact that I respected and held the month of Ramadan in deep reverence and admiration. I thus recited the kalma and became a Muslim before I passed away. Hence, I was granted paradise. So these are the blessings associated and granted to a person who holds the month of Ramadan with deep respect, deep reverence, and admiration.